Weddings are a celebration of finding the perfect fit. And with Indochino, you can design a custom suit made to your measurements. Go to INDOCHINO.com and use code PODCAST for 10% off any order of $3.99 or more.
Release the Kraken!
Iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend. Iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend.
You're listening to The Iron Show with Johnny McMahon.
Oh, yeah, you are.
We're proud to have The Iron Show right here.
Oh, yeah.
On Fringe Radio Network. That's FringeRadioNetwork.com.
.com, baby. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
It's so nice to be here with you, Matthew. Oh. Yes, we are here with
Matthew Miller! Oh, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, All right. What's up, Matthew? How's it going, man?
It's going good. Boy, haven't crashed the Iron Show in almost a year, have I?
It's
been a long time. I can't remember.
It hasn't been a year. It's quite a few months, though. It's been like 3 or 4 or 5 months. I guarantee you that. So somewhere around, we were talking about it. Talking about the Ebola virus here. Somewhere around the beginning of the year, I think.
Was we?
Yeah, it seems like. I don't know. It's great to have you here, though. Great to hang out with you. Totally. Awesome. I wanted to do an Iron Show because I think I got enough level here. Let me get my level. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's good. Yeah, I wanted to do an Iron Show because there is just so much talk about the vaccine and the mark of the beast. And, you know, everybody's saying this, they're saying that, blah, blah, blah. And, I always thought that these end times, these serious hardcore Isaiah 24, Day of the Lord, was a few hundred years in the future. I take that back. I don't think it's that far away. I think it'll be, maybe in my lifetime, I don't know, I've got another 20 years, Lord willing, if the Lord tarries, the Lord keeps me alive. But I may see it. It's starting to look like things are unfolding to the point where I might see it myself. But people are talking about, the vaccine is the mark of the beast, blah, blah, blah. And, since I always thought that really like the day of the Lord and all these end times and the great tribulation and the man of sin and the false prophet and the beast. I always thought that was a few hundred years in the future because all these things have to happen. I mean, I knew that much because I know my Bible pretty well compared to the average Joe. I mean, I've been hanging out with you, which that helps, and Rabbi Mike. So... I knew while I'm reading all this stuff and hearing all these people talk, I mean, I know in the back of my head, the lot has to happen before, people are taking the mark of the beast. So I was wanting to read through, I should have pulled it up, too. I wanted to read through, let's see here. It would be Revelation 13, starting at about verse... I want to say 13 is probably where. In fact, I back it up further than that. I mean, if we're going to look at...
you have to look at a whole stanza in Greek, which that's where the word comes from, stanza. The whole thought is began with the article in question, and that's in verse 11. So you have to start from where the stanza starts, because as you go through this, you're going to go through 13, 14, 15. Those will use the article auto, meaning he, she, it, whatever. So you have to refer back to the beginning of the stanza, and that is the beast from the earth. It's this particular beast that's going to do these things. So a lot of people ask me that question. Who is the he? Who is the he? Is there a he? What is the masculine article in Greek in verse 16? Well, you need to back up some because multiple verses has auto there in the Greek. So that's referring back to, so you have to keep going back up. This is why we, even in English, have stanzas. That comes from the Greek word. So you have to realize that this thought is all delivered. So it never says he in those verses below it. It's always referring back to the article of the beast from the earth. So that's a good thing to point out in of itself, because a lot of people don't realize how Greek works. So they're asking me a particular question: which he is it? Is it the idol that does it? This machine that comes to life. They're wanting to know that particular data set. So it's a good thing you brought that up, really.
I think how I'd like to do this is I'd like to start at 13:1 and get all the way to the mark of the beast, and I'll read a verse, and you explain it, really. So I think that's the best we can do here to really deliver something that the listeners can really get, can really soak it in and get an understanding and get a grip on this whole mark of the beast, and what has to play out. In order for it to happen. I want to start in Revelation 13:1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. So, that people have interpreted that verse like a million different ways. Well, there's only 2 or 3 popular ones. But how do you explain that beast that comes out of the sea?
Well, this beast is also referred to in Revelation as the beast from the abyss, but there is no consternation here. This must be the beast that assembles the kings of the earth. Here it just had the diadems in Revelation 19:19. That's what it is. So if you really want to pick this apart, well, which particular beast is it? You go all the way there to Revelation 19:19. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies assembled to make war against him who sat on the horse and against his army, which is, of course, a futile cause. You're not going to do battle with the Son of the living God. You're not going to do battle with the King. You're not going to do battle with him through whom creation was made. You technically can't do that, but they try.
Yeah, you can try and die.
You can right. You can put on a good show, and that's basically what you're. This is really something like one of the midget wrestlers getting into the ring with Andre the Giant.
Yeah,
you're going to put on a show, and that's it, because it's not happening.
And the Lord will even let you. He's. It looks like a lot of times he's going, "Hey, I'll give you a couple free shots. Let's see how you do."
Exactly, but no doubt about it, this is the beast from the sea that has the 10 kings in tow in Revelation 19.
So if you were to translate that, or if you were trying to transpose that, or translate that into a scene that we would look for, what would that look like to the average guy?
A scene that we would look for. That's a pretty curious way to put that.
Yeah, because you got the average listener listening who doesn't really know this stuff. So what would the average listener see when that happened? What would it look like to them? What would it look like to the world when this verse happened? When the beast came out of the sea, he's got 7 heads, 10 horns, 10 crowns, the name of blasphemy. What would that look like in real life?
Well, once again, we can use what we know about this particular prophetic event. Remember, he's seeing a vision. Literally, you get what happens in Revelation chapter 11, verse 7. It says, when they have finished their testimony, the beast that comes up from the abyss will make war with them and overcome them and kill them. Here we go. We know who this is. I just read you the verse from Revelation 19:19. This is the beast that makes war. It is the beast from the abyss. So here you get the technical data that prophetically what you're seeing is a sea, and up out of it comes this beast that has many depictions. And you'll take note what the depictions are actually describing is the amount of heads that are referred to in Daniel. But that's beside the point for right now. Right now you understand, now you can see prophetically what he's talking about. That's why these 3 verses are all pinned together in the book of Revelation. So you've got Revelation 11:7, this one here in 13:1, and 19:19 gives you the whole picture that prophetically what this sea is the angelic realm. And the earth, you're getting ready to see, the other beast, that is from men. So you have the kingdom, how do we put this? We have the celestial kingdom, and you have the earthly kingdom. So this particular beast, it comes actually out of the abyss, and we know that there's no people in that abyss, that there is no humans there. The book of Jude and 2 Peter describes this event, that they are in Tartaros in the Greek. That is only one thing. It's not hell. It was never hell.
No.
But our English translations have to try to use a word that people understand. So for those verses, they say hell, but it's not. It's Tartaros. This is the abyss from the Greek language. So we know that those are the angels that did not keep their proper abode. And so when you realize that, that this thing, it's an angel.
Okay, that's what I'm looking for. What does it look like in real life? It's a fallen angel.
Yes, it is a fallen angel. Now, a lot of people would have arguments over what that would look like, but we know that basically, Johnny, they have the ability to take on our shape and form. We know that. The Bible repeatedly says that. Even though they must be different somewhat in appearance because, take all the people of Sodom. Now, not some of them, all of them, men, women, and children, tried to rush Lot's house to get their hands on that angelic seed. Now, this is part and parcel with how the mechanism of the second incursion took place. These angels had come up with a harebrained idea that they were actually allowed to get away with for a period of time until they really got God's attention, and that was this. Instead of coming down and taking wives, they decided to come down and not guard themselves. Like I said, Jude and the book of 2 Peter is very illicit about this fact that they did not guard themselves. They did not keep their proper abode. They come down here, so they were allowing the humans to take their seed. So
right, and that's where you get the strange flesh, which is in the New Testament. People think that's gay people. No, it's angels having sex with angels.
That's right. And me and my son just did a live Christian Conspiracy video, which that's going to be forwarded to Johnny and the Fringe Radio Network. I had to take the boys back to Bible school today, so we took an hour and 18-minute video. So Johnny's going to be putting that up, so look for that.
Great.
We also talked exclusively about this, so Aaron happens to cover that in that live video today. But that is exactly what the Greek is saying. And even there, it doesn't say homo, it says hetero in the Greek. No, ladies and gentlemen, it's not talking about homosexuality. No, it's not. They were literally, they had figured out that judgment was rendered because they had taken wives. Well, if you come down here and just don't protect yourself and allow the humans to rape you, well, then you can frolic, can't you?
And that would have been partly the sin of Sodom, besides persecuting the poor.
Besides that, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's good to know. Okay, so, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him power and his seat and great authority. So does this describe his physical appearance, or is this just kind of reference to basically the four powers of the earth, or what?
Well, let's do this. These beasts sound awfully a lot like Daniel chapter 7, don't they?
They do. But, the modern, prophecy guys will say, well, the leopard, that's Germany, and the bear, that's Russia, and the lion, that's England and America by extension. But it's probably not that. It's just if I was going to interpret it, I would say he represents the whole world, or he has he's like the whole world leader.
Okay.
Or not. See, I'm just guessing now. I'm asking you. I'm just, I'm hoping that I might have it right, but I'm sure I probably have it wrong.
Well, you're actually not too far from the truth. However, everything you said before about Germany and Tom, Dick, and Harry and Mary and I don't know what all, that was all funny. I mean, those were amusing.
Yeah.
Is what they were. They were amusing.
Yeah.
But let's talk about this. You're about to be given a number of heads, right?
Yes.
Well, when you go back to Daniel, the 7th chapter, and start counting heads, well, let's just do that. It mentions that, and I'll read it again, and the beast which I saw was a leopard, number 1. Now, Daniel chapter 7 says that leopard has 4 heads. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it says, and its feet were like a bear. Okay. The bear has 1 head. That's 5. And his mouth was like the mouth of a lion. Well, that's the lion from Daniel chapter 7. That's 6 heads.
Yeah,
right?
if you ask me, this is not any ordinary fallen angel. This is one of those high up guys like Ezekiel ran into.
Well, let's do this. So it just gave you 6 heads, right? 6 heads from Daniel chapter 7. Now it gives you the 7th head. It says, and now it's going to talk about the beast from the abyss himself. One of the heads as if it had been slain, and his fatal wound was healed. Of course it was. He was slain because he was tossed into Tartarus, and now he's let out of the abyss.
Okay.
So he was dead. Now he's alive. There's your 7th head. Now this dragon it's complete with all 7 heads.
Oh, the dragon gave him power, seat, and great authority.
Right.
And so that's like the 7th head?
Right, that's the 7th head.
Because the dragon brought him back to life. Or brought him out of the abyss.
Right. Now this entity is how Satan has handed over his authority to this beast from the abyss. So now it's going to rule the whole planet.
Okay, now this is some kind of very powerful fallen angel, probably one that's handpicked by the devil, because he is powerful. He's a big deal. Okay, right. So now, and I saw one of the heads, Revelation 13:3. We're moving up through the verses, and I saw one of his heads as if it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. Now that verse, I always thought that the world saw him receive the deadly head wound, and since it was healed, that's why the world wondered after the beast, marveled after the beast. Look, it came back to life. But you're saying no, it was in Tartarus. That's when it was slain, wounded to death.
Right. Now, what you're wanting to supplant here is due to the entertainment industry. What you're wanting to say is that this is the Antichrist. Now, take note. Antichrist is not in Revelation.
No.
It's not there. So that's what you're wanting to do. You're wanting to feed off what your subconscious has been told from the entertainment industry, right. Most notably the Omen series.
So that
comes from the Omen series.
So yes, and it comes from Left Behind and everything else.
Right.
And so all the world wondered and marveled after the beast, just because he's this monster fallen angel dude. He's like seriously supernatural.
Right.
I mean, they're not marveling after him because he was healed from a deadly head wound. They're just marveling at him. Period.
Right. They're marveling at the entire apparatus that's just been unleashed on them. You have to realize.
Yeah, it's supernatural. And it's like the beast is like he may have this appearance, you know, of these creatures, and he may be like glowing and he may be real big. Right? I mean, it could be that way, right?
Well, you have to realize that this is an angel. This is not a man. And he can, well, the book of Enoch states it plainly. They can polymorph. That's where you get the word for polymorph. They can change their form.
Ah, okay.
So if he wanted to look like that, he certainly could. And after being locked up in the abyss, you have to realize he's going to come out with total, absolute sensory deprivation for thousands of years. He's going to come out psychotic.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to be hell on earth. And people just don't get that when the book of Revelation plainly describes multiple extinction level events. But God puts the cherry on top by telling death to flee from you. You can't die. So people really don't have a clean grasp of just exactly how much of a hell on earth it's going to be, because just on one point, the events described in Revelation and Isaiah chapter 24, if the earth is removed from the habitable zone, it doesn't matter if your environment is not inhabitable. God plainly says that he tells death to flee from you. So people really can't get the full gist of the horrors that's coming down the barrel.
Very hardcore. And Revelation 13:4, and they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, and they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? So now we have the dragon, which is Satan, giving power to the beast, the supernatural fallen angel, this hardcore just monster from the abyss, and they worship the beast. So people are worshiping the beast because I guess they're probably scared of him. So, and they're like, who's like the beast and who can make war with him? So when he comes on the scene, everybody is so blown away and so scared and so in awe of this creature, this heavenly host, fallen creature, that they're like, who can mess with this guy? There's just no way. Let's worship him. Is that right?
That's exactly right. And you have to remember what is already described with the prior chapter before this. Revelation chapter 12 makes it very clear, ladies and gentlemen, that Satan takes his tail and swipes out 1/3 of the stars and casts them to earth. You're not just dealing with this bad boy. You have to understand that they immediately try to go back up Jacob's ladder, and they meet Michael headlong, face to face, and he tears them up. So you have to realize that you're talking about 1/3 of the angelic host is going to be here, and they're going to be ticked off at you.
So people just they figure they have no choice. They're going to worship this creature, this critter, because if they don't, they're going to die. It's their only hope of staying
now remember,
alive.
God tells death to flee from you.
Okay.
So imagine you're going to go through extreme torture by terrorists, and you can't die.
Yeah,
that's what they're going to do.
That's brutal.
It's the entertainment industry does not do it justice.
It's not really actually God that's keeping you alive through all this hardcore torture. It's he's letting these creatures do it. He's not stopping them.
Right, because, well, Johnny, there comes a point in time when God's just had it. Okay? We all know that through the missionaries, the Gospels went around the globe, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and everybody just continues to do what they want to do. And, well, the prophet Asaph says it best in the Psalms. He says that it gets to that place where everybody that runs the planet, they think that, they don't care if God's watching them or not, or if God knows. And it comes to the point where enough is enough, and he steps in, and he takes, takes the truth and, well, shoves it down their throat.
And now, really, to me, in my understanding of this whole thing and the way God is that we're not talking about your average Joe six-pack. We're talking about evil sons of bitches. We're really...
they run the show.
Yeah.
Look, literally speaking, okay, you're talking about the people that pull all the buttons behind the scene. I mean, let's take the current crisis that we're in. Johnny, whether you look, 1 year ago, if I'd have told you that the Big Ten would have canceled all the ball games, you'd have called me a liar. You'd have said the only way that can happen is if a nuclear war goes off, right? I mean, do you not realize? 1 year ago, if I said, "Hey, man, they're going to cancel the World Series," you would have called me nuts, right?
No, well, because I know about pandemics. Because I watch all the Netflix series on pandemics. So, if you would have said, there's going to be a pandemic, because they were expecting it for years, I would have just said, "Oh, I didn't think it would." I would tell you, I don't think it's going to happen yet, but I would have been wrong because I didn't think it was going to happen yet. But anyway,
the point being, we're living in unprecedented times.
Now, Revelation 13:5, and there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. Now, this is your area right here, 42 months.
42 months. Yeah, I have spent a whole lot of time in my life explaining the 42 months, why it's 42 months.
Yes.
No doubt about that. I'm in the middle of writing a book, Terra Erectus, the coming pole shift according to the scripture. So, yeah, I'm even writing a book about it. But, yes, the 42 months is basically, in of itself, a great mystery, because time must be sexagesimal. People, unless they're a mathematician, they really don't know what sexagesimal means. But our math is based off factors of 10.
Right.
Everybody knows that. It's very hard and very complicated.
Oh, you're talking about like the Sumerians, where it was base 6?
The Babylonians, it was base 60, not 6.
Oh, okay.
So when it's a base 60, it makes, you can take equations that are 10 pages long and massively simplify them, because 60 has so many factors. So it's extremely easy to reduce fractions using a 60 system. This is a sexagesimal system. This is why the heavens are established on that factor of 60. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to wrap your mind around this. The only reason why you call an hour 20 or a day 24 hours long is that's been divided into 60. You have 24 sets of 60 in one rotation of the earth. It's sexagesimal. Now, when you look at the 42 months, you realize that later in other chapters it says that this time is exactly 1,260 days long. That's impossible on the current calendar system. You can't do that. He's literally telling you that time has been changed.
What would that look like on the current calendar?
It would average somewhere between 147, it would average somewhere. I mean, you can't be perfect, but that would be a little over, like 3 days less than 42 months, or 4 days over, because, well, our days move around on the calendar.
So it's hard to nail down an exact time, which obviously God didn't really want you to have an exact time.
Right. So when he's giving you this, you know that there must be exactly 30 days in each month.
Oh.
And that's why he's saying it. This is also why...
Oh, so you would know exactly if you... Or you wouldn't.
Right.
You could just get it within 6 days, basically.
Right. On this calendar, he would never say 3.5 years is 42 months. He would never say 3.5 years is exactly 1,260 days. That's impossible. unless time has been rearranged back to, well, I call it the days of Noah. Because that's what God said. That's what Jesus said you're going back to, is the days of Noah.
Yeah, and also if the rotation of the earth speeds up or slows down, that's going to totally change the length of a day.
Totally. Yes, and
So,
you know from what he says in Revelation, you're going to go to a 16-hour day. You don't have to like it. You're going to speed up. Once something, drag is being released on this planet, and something speeds it up so that 1/3 of the day, and he wants to make sure you know, and 1/3 of the night. 1/3 of them is struck. The only way that can happen, there's only one way that can happen, because that is irregardless of our diameter. That can only be done by speeding up our spin. The only way you can speed the spin of the Earth up is to release some form of drag from it.
yeah, or just send Planet X whipping by it close enough to get it spinning faster.
Right, exactly. That's right.
That's a no-brainer right there, Planet X. I'm a Planet Xer, so. Okay, well, we'll move on because we got a lot of ground to cover in a short time.
Okay.
And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle to them that dwell in heaven. Well, that's fairly self-explanatory. He doesn't like God, and he wants everybody to know it.
That's right. Yes.
And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them, and power was given over all kindreds and tongues and nations. So he persecutes the Christians big time, and he takes over the entire earth.
That's right. The only way he can do this is, once again, in getting back to the celestial entities. You realize that, he's literally stating here that the princes of the tribes, nations, and tongues, those have princes over them, they've all been given into his hand. And you're going to get this next. So really what he's saying here is the princes have been given to his hand. In the next verse, they give you the second part. And
Right.
Everybody that lives on the earth, or the human race, they also follow the beast. So you realize that it's been given to him lock, stock, and barrel.
The unsaved people come next, and all that dwell on the earth shall worship him. Those names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain before the foundation of the world. We're talking about Jesus right there. We're talking about the book of life. We're talking about people that are saved, are not included in that number of everyone on the earth worshiping the beast. And so he obviously he's going after the Christians. Everybody else is worshiping him, and he basically owns the earth at that point.
Right.
And then Revelation 13:9, if any man have an ear, let him hear. Well, that's good, because we're the listeners are listening. So if you got an ear, let's listen here. 13:10, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth by the sword must be killed by the sword. Here is the patience and faith of the saints. That one throws me. I don't understand that verse. I bet you do.
Because that's pretty contrary to most people. I was just viewing a video in a particular church denomination here. It was sent to me, and this preacher in this denomination was saying things that he's not supposed to say. Oh. He was telling his parishioners, he was doing this on YouTube, he was telling them to buy beans, bullets, and bullion. Now, that was pretty stupid, because God never told you to store up silver and gold, but yet he was telling people they better go buy silver and gold, and they need to buy ammunitions or guns, and they need to store up in food. Wrong answer. The Lord never said that. Not ever did he say that.
No, he said that he's going to provide, he's going to take the believers into a place and protect them in the wilderness.
That's right. That's exactly what he said. So you should know up front, you don't have anything to worry about.
So when it says he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity, it's talking about like people that are trafficking in human slavery. They're going to become slaves. Isn't that?
Yeah. Yes.
And the people that are killing, they're going to get killed.
And they're going to get killed. I mean, just for a pointer, everybody. a 44 Magnum, even if you do go Dirty Harry, ain't going to do squat to these bad boys. They're angels.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah. Haven't you ever seen X-Men or or the Justice League? Like Superman. Hit Superman with a 45. What's that going to do? Nothing.
It's going to just tick him off.
Okay, well, now here we come. Now we're coming. Wow, we're coming. We're getting closer to the mark, right? We've got this beast. He's on the earth. He's a supernatural being. He's a fallen angel. He's taken over the whole earth. He's persecuting the Christians. And everybody, all the people that are not saved are worshiping him. And now we have another beast coming, Revelation 13:11. And I beheld another beast coming out of the earth. And he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. So this is the who's that? What does he look like in real life?
Well, he looks like a lamb. This is in reference to the only lamb mentioned here in the book of Revelation. That would be, of course, Jesus Christ. So he must have the same appearance of that lamb. So he is a human. He is a man. But you're going to see pretty quickly that this authority is passed down the chain of command. And he is afforded the authority, well, he's afforded angelic authority.
But
so
he's a man.
But he is a man. And he is something different because, well, Isaiah chapter 10 describes him as being the Lord's axe. So
he's the instrument of destruction.
Yes, he is the instrument of destruction. Well, he is talked extensively about Jeremiah chapter 13, and I could just rattle them off the top of my head at length. He is massively stated that, well, the Lord does this for punishment's sake. Literally speaking, this beast from the earth, he has done this thing, and well, speaking of Jeremiah chapter 13, it states it best. It says, because of your great iniquities, he has sent this destroyer to you. So there's just no way around it that this is why this happens. This is why he's given all of this power. It's because he is the Lord's axe, and he's going to do so for judgment's sake. So,
if you were going to talk to Tim LaHaye or Jerry B. Jenkins about this guy, what terminology that they understand would you give to this guy?
The false prophet.
Okay.
See, but in their minds, I would have to first let them know that what your entertainment has done is merged the beast from the sea and the beast from the earth. You've made them one character and titled them the Antichrist. That is quite incorrect.
But they're clearly separate. You have the beast.
They are clearly separate.
You have the beast, a supernatural angel, and you have a man, the false prophet.
That's right.
Okay, now, 2 horns of a lamb, to me, that looks like people think he's Jesus.
Well, like I stated before, he most certainly probably is going to look like Jesus, no doubt about it.
And the Jews may adopt him as their Messiah. Is that possible?
Oh, well, yes, that's what the Bible actually comes out and says.
Oh.
So a lot of people don't know those. Well, this is why this stanza is reciprocated. It's from Psalm 60, but you have to understand that it's also the same exact verses in Psalm 108, because Psalm 108, we don't really have time to get into this, but it's massively important because it gives you separate stanzas and combines them. So literally Psalm 108 is an amalgamation of other stanzas throughout the Bible. But let me get to the point real quick. Psalm chapter 60 and verse 7. What your translation reads should be something like this. It should read, Gilead is mine and Manasseh mine, Ephraim also the strength of mine head, Judah my lawgiver. However, that's not exactly what The Hebrew says here is that Ephraim is his Moaz. That's what it says. So you see that in your translation as, well, helmet, and here it says strength of my head. No, it says Moaz. That's what it says. It says Moaz in Hebrew. And they know this to be the same exact entity from Daniel that everybody assigns in historical literature. They think this is what Antiochus Epiphanes was worshiping, these Moaz, these beasts of fortresses. This is the same exact word. And here it says plainly here that Ephraim is the strength of his head and Judah is my lawgiver. So here you have the two sticks. You have to realize that the Jews believe in two Messiahs, the son of Joseph and the son of David. This is exactly what this verse is relating to. So beyond any shadow of a doubt, they will think that the Assyrian is from the tribe of Ephraim,
and they have a history of aligning with Assyria because of their their scaredy catness. In the Old Testament, Ephraim, which is the southern kingdom of Israel. It says, Ephraim feeds on wind. He pursues the east wind continually. Moreover, he makes a covenant with Ashur, which is the Assyrian.
He makes a covenant with Ashur.
Right? That's a prophecy of this. That's a prophecy of this, Revelation 13:11. Right? I mean,
that's right. This is, well, let's go further than that because people really don't understand where this prophecy comes from. It comes from actually the reference to, remember the first bad prophecy that says that you will strike the serpent, right?
Right.
Well, you have to accept that all Christians should know this. The second part is also a prophecy that the Assyrian fulfills. The serpent will certainly strike his heel, correct?
Yes.
Well, I'm sorry, but you have to understand that through the Assyrian's eyes, he's actually doing what God told him to do.
Right. He's the instrument of God's wrath.
Yes. And he knows it. And this is how that prophecy is fulfilled on top of what you just said. That this magnifies itself as the iniquity goes greater, God gets madder and madder and madder. But yeah, this is originally the original bad prophecy between those who serve God and, well, those who don't. But remember that the second part of the prophecy, that's what the Assyrian false prophecy, he is fulfilling this prophecy that the heel of the Messiah would be struck, would be bit, or would be bruised, some translations say.
Now, I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spoke as a dragon. Now, this guy, this false prophet, the false prophet, is what you would call him. Now, is this the same guy that everybody thinks that what most prophecy people would say is the Antichrist?
As of the next verse.
Okay, the next verse. And he exerciseth all power.
Period.
I'm sorry. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and he causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. So he's like the instrument. He's the he gets his power from the first beast.
That's right.
From the fallen angel.
So, ladies and gentlemen, literally imagine this in your mind. You know when Jesus was tempted by Satan, right?
Yes.
And Satan was forthright with him. He said, if you worship me, I'll give you every kingdom, the whole planet. Right?
Right.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, what you're seeing here is that's exactly what the beast from the sea does. He accepts Satan's invitation and he takes it. And then he passes on to whom you would call, who would Jesus naturally have passed that authority down to be his number one stooge? Of course, he would have done it to John the Baptist, correct?
I guess.
That's what you're seeing right here. Satan's original intention is fulfilled. What he was trying to do to Jesus in that temptation, you'll take note that the Bible is very illicit. It says that Jesus waited until John died, and then he started pursuing his ministry. The Bible's very plain about that.
Okay.
And most people just kind of forget that. They just kind of look over that when John died, but the Bible's very plain. It says that Jesus waited until John was gone and then started his public ministry.
What does that have to do with this?
Well, what Satan was trying to do then, he accomplishes now in these verses. He passes off his authority to the beast from the sea, and then the beast from the sea elects his own stooge to run the whole planet. Of course, like I stated just a few minutes ago, Jesus probably would have handed off all authority to who? John the Baptist. Because John the Baptist was the forerunner.
Oh, okay. So it's like an evil mirror of that.
And exactly. It is the perfect evil mirror of what Satan was trying to do, offering Jesus all the kingdoms of the earth.
Okay. So what he's doing is Jesus turned it down, but he's giving it to this guy.
Right,
basically.
exactly.
Okay, so now, and then, okay, let's see here. And, okay, Revelation 13:13. And, okay, now we're still talking about this second beast, this false prophet, who modern people call the Antichrist, but we don't. So this false prophet, the second beast, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. So he calls down fire like Elijah.
That's right.
And it's not.
That's right. He does.
It's not lightning. This is like a different thing, right? I mean,
this is fire from heaven. Yeah.
So that, and fire from heaven is a supernatural fire. It's not.
Okay. Listen.
What? Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a flamethrower.
Yeah.
Okay. Remember, Daniel tells us that this human, can trample on the host of heaven. Ladies and gentlemen, no, this is the entertainment industry once again is falling short. What he's saying here is that the heavenly realm, Johnny, heaven, where God is.
Yes.
He's able to tear that veil between heaven and creation and bring fire out from the heavenly realm into the physical realm. So, that's a whole lot worse than a flamethrower, Johnny. No, that's not what it is. This fire is from heaven, and it begs the question, what kind of damage would that do? I have no idea. But this fire is from the spiritual realm, not the earthly realm.
So it wouldn't look like any kind of natural fire or lightning. This would be truly, truly awe-inspiring to witness.
Yes, it would be. Yes.
Wow. Okay. So he does that. He calls down fire from heaven in the sight of men. That's huge. Everybody's really impressed with that one, obviously.
Yes.
And then Revelation 13:14, and he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. So now there's an image. There's now an image in the Old Testament, at least is in my understanding. What we're talking about is like a statue. When they talk about like a graven image, like they did like the children of Israel did in the desert, when Moses was on the mountain, they made an image. They carved this statue, a graven image. Am I off on this or?
No, you are exactly correct. It is an edifice made with human hands. So you can call it whatever you want to. You can call it a doll. You can call it an action figure. But yes, it is an icon that's made with human hands. A statue, however you want to put it, that'll work.
Okay, so we've got an image of the beast. Now people think, oh, it's a picture. No, it's not. That's not what image means in the Bible. It's a statue. It's an edifice. Yeah, that's what it is. And okay, so we have this statue of the and it looks like the beast, the first beast, and he causes everybody to worship this statue.
Yes.
And he had power. Okay, so he's got this statue, this image of the first beast, all set up. He's making everybody worship it, and then comes the really weird part. Revelation 13:15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Now, explain that one. Explain that one. Okay, so he sets up this statue and then he makes it alive. He has the power to put life into it, to animate it, right?
That's right. He has the power. Well, this is even a greater miracle. You understand what he's going to say. He's going to say that he's even more powerful than Christ the King, because it's one thing to raise the dead, right? Christ did that. He rose the dead, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And Christ threatened to make the rocks cry out, right? But he didn't do that.
Right.
This is more powerful than even raising the dead. It's raising an inanimate object that was never alive.
Wow.
It was never alive.
Wow.
So this is truly the cherry on top, that all these, Johnny, how many times have you heard this before? So let's just mention some names that you use. So did Tim LaHaye tell you this, or Mr. Jenkins?
What? Tell me what exactly.
That he just trumped Jesus raising the dead.
No, I've never heard that before. That's
why not?
Because I never thought about it. I mean, Jesus raised the dead, somebody who had been alive, and they were dead, and then he made them alive again. But this is giving life to something that never was alive, to a rock. He's giving life to a rock. When Jesus said, if these people weren't here to worship me, as he rode into Jerusalem on the donkey, he said, I truly, I tell you, even the rocks would cry out. The rocks would cry out. King of the Jews, King of the universe, right? So
right,
now
but
this
that
is
was
sort
just
of
a
like
threat. He never
that.
did it, though, right?
He never did it. But now the beast, this false
Is
prophet,
able to do
he
it.
does it.
He does it.
Wow.
The false prophet does it.
Now, isn't it, now a lot of people listening to this would say, well, isn't Matthew Miller speaking blasphemy, saying that he outdid Jesus in raising the dead?
Why is speaking the truth blasphemy?
Right, I'm just saying.
These events are in the Bible. You can look them up.
Absolutely. It's like, it's true. You don't have to like it.
Right, yeah. It's true. That's what God said. You don't have to like it.
Yeah.
But now I'm revealing to you why this is so magnificent, why this is third in this chain, why this is the cherry on top. And the Jews will absolutely know this. This is more than raising the dead. This is giving something life that was never alive. It was an inanimate object. So he is fulfilling what Jesus, whom all you Christians call the Son of God, he just threatened to do this. This guy actually did it. He's our, what? Yeah, this is going to prove him to be. This is going to prove him to be Messiah ben Joseph. This is going to prove him to be Ephraim's Moaz, or Ephraim's helmet, or strength of his head. Thus fulfills that verse in Psalms chapter 60, verse 7.
Okay, wait a minute, but is there a prophecy of somebody giving life to an image or to a rock?
This is exclusive here. This is exclusive here. This has never been done in Scripture. This has never been done anywhere.
Wow.
Like I said, only a threat. Christ threatened to do it, but he didn't.
Right, but this time it was done.
This time it was done, and this leaves everybody just stunned.
So the people that say, well, all Revelation is just a retelling of the prophecies in the Old Testament, right? And that's partly true, but we have things in here that have never been spoken of in Scripture. Or not specifically, this is new. This is a new thing, the New Testament.
Yeah. They're going to say this. Look, nobody has ever would even suggest this, because it's ludicrous to even suggest it, yet he just did it.
Wow, that's incredible, though. I mean, people are going to be truly impressed when the false prophet sets up a statue and then makes it alive. And this thing, now, it's not just animated like maybe you'd see in a science fiction thing where they use nanotechnology, right, to make something like a robot. This isn't a robot. I mean, when it says in Revelation 13:15, and he had the power to give life unto the image of the beast, it means life, right?
Yes, it means life. That's what it's talking about.
Like not a robot, but this thing is actually alive.
It is alive. Yes, it has the breath of life in it. It is not animated. It's not turned on with a battery. No, it's alive.
That is truly incredible. And so people will obviously be very impressed with all this. And, okay, and now we are finally here, Revelation 13:16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save that he had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Okay, so, comment on that. Explain that to us.
Well, that first verse, 16, that is exactly mimicking Isaiah chapter 24. I mean,
is it?
Literally, this is talking about everybody on the planet. It's everybody. There's nobody excluded here. You have to be talking about everybody, and this goes back to the sixth seal event. Once again, it talks about lottie-dottie everybody.
I like that.
So, once again, you get the fulfillment of, I've mentioned several chapters here. This thing, this monster, is the fulfillment of he is the wrath of God personified.
So, now, when it says he causeth all men, small and great, rich and poor, to receive the mark, all men, so what about the Christians? It can't be all men, because what about the Christians?
Well, the Bible clearly describes that the body vast that, you call Christians, or some people call the bride, they've been relocated. They're not there. They've been taken to a very strange place that's been prepared for them by God himself.
Which is what most people would call the rapture, but they don't have it exactly right, or God takes them to a place of protection in the wilderness. So a lot of people would say, well, that's the rapture, but that's not actually the rapture, right? I mean, it looks like sort of like that, but...
Well, it serves the same function. It serves the same function that happened, of course, in Goshen with the Israelites. The plague of darkness, the Bible's quite clear, struck everywhere in Egypt, but guess what? No, it didn't go to, how is it possible that the plague didn't occur in Goshen where the children of Israel were? Well, because things kind of do what God says. But anyway. The event you're talking about, the rapture, that is actually, in the Greek, alagosmorthia. That's when you're changed. You're changed in the twinkling of an eye. So that happens at the end. This event here is a relocation to a place that's been prepared for by God. So you would call both events happening. Okay? This event is a relocation event. So you are gathered. This is called, my favorite term for it is Operation Eagle's Wings, because that's what God calls it. You will be taken up on the wings of eagles. Of course, Revelation chapter 12 uses the same phraseology with the eagle's wings. He takes you someplace and protects you there. And then all hell breaks loose everywhere else. But the Bible says that in this time, you will be given hinds feet. Well, what does that mean? Humans don't have hinds feet, and humans are somehow able to walk in high places. I mean, you don't have to like it. That's what God said. And if you believe the Bible, that's what it says. I mean, so what does that mean? We don't understand what it means. Explain this one. How is it that for 40 years of wandering, their clothes didn't wear out? That's not possible. Well, it is when God has prepared a place for you to be, and you stay there until, well, he kind of says otherwise.
Right.
So both of these events happen. So most people think, and they've been taught via the entertainment industry, that they're going to do an Isaiah chapter 14 event and go to heaven. No, you're not going to
not yet.
You're not going to ascend to heaven.
Not yet. Not yet.
You're relocated.
Right.
So then at the end, it happens exactly what the Bible says, that you are changed. Alagosmothea, that is a triple closed compound word in Greek. It says you will be changed on the earth at that event. That's literally what it means.
And that's the day of the Lord, when Jesus sets his foot on the Mount of Olives and returns to the earth. That's when that happens.
Yep, that's when that event happens.
Which is what people really would call the rapture at that point. That's what people think of when they think of rapture. They think of that changing when Jesus returns, the second coming, when his foot slams down on the Mount of Olives. People that are alive are changed and translated to meet the Lord in the air, and then the people that are dead raise first, except for the dead rise first. Make no mistake about that. And then the people that are still alive, the believers, are translated, they're transformed into something else. And like St. Paul said, I know not how we shall be, but we shall be like him.
Right, we'll be like him. That's the only, you're going to marry him, right?
Yes. So you have to.
Well, guess what?
Flesh and blood can't inherit.
Strange flesh, can you?
Yeah, flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of heaven. You have to be born again.
Right. Are we be getting back to what 2 Peter and Jude was talking about? Them knucklehead angels did. So yeah, this is the whole reason why you must be alagosmothea. You must be changed in the twinkling of an eye so that you can enter the kingdom of heaven, or be married to the king, become his bride. We have to be the same thing. This is why the Bible tells you this and explains all this to you.
Yeah, and St. Paul said that, he didn't say this exactly, but he said that the earth is a cheap imitation of heaven.
Right.
So we're changed into something that's actually real.
Right. We're upgraded. That's
upgraded.
Good way to look at it.
I like it. Upgraded, yeah. Because, you have to be born again. And, we go back to this whole theory of mine when Jesus said you have to be born again. Flesh and blood can't inherit the kingdom of heaven. I really think he was talking about that transformation. I don't think he was talking about, regeneration of the spirit, like being, accepting Jesus and following him. People say, oh, that's born again. Well, it's a transformation of the spirit and everything, but actually born again, I think he's talking about something actually literal.
Yeah, you're right. And the Greek word for that is alagosmothea. That's actually what he says. So it's a changing.
Oh, so when he's talking to, I can't say his name, the Pharisee.
Don't give honor where it's not due. Just call him a Pharisee. That's good news.
Okay, when Jesus is talking to the Pharisee and he tells them that flesh and blood cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. Verily I say unto you, King James, you must be born again. Right? So when he says that, is that that the Greek word you're talking about? Greek phrase?
Yes. That's what that's in reference to. You must be changed. So.
Yeah, but what does that mean actually in the Greek? Does it mean just like I changed my mind? Or does it mean I was a caterpillar and I came out of the cocoon as a butterfly? I mean, which does it mean?
No, he was very forthright. He says flesh and blood. He's not talking about flesh and blood. He's talking about a different body altogether.
I've always believed that, and people just hate me for saying that.
Well, they also hate everybody that comes out and tells them, hey, Antichrist isn't in Revelation. They'll hate you for that too. That's beside the point.
Right. There is no person named Antichrist. Except for St. John, and he was talking about the many Antichrists that were on the earth, saying that Jesus didn't come in the flesh. According to my research, my learning, my teaching, my schooling, he was talking about the Docetists, which were a version of the Gnostics, who believed that the material world was evil. Everything in the world was evil, including people, because they were made out of material substance.
Right.
And so Jesus couldn't have come in the flesh because the flesh is evil.
Right. So if Jesus did come in the flesh, he was evil because everything that is in the material realm, which we talked about, this Assyrian false prophet is going to be able to tear open the heavenly realm and bring in fire to the physical realm. But yeah, they taught that everything physical is bad, is evil, and of course that's
not true.
Well, that's kind of retarded.
Yeah, because God created it, and He saw that it was
right.
And He saw that it was good. Hello.
That's right. And them God haters hate that. They absolutely hate it that He said, this is good. What I designed was good.
Yeah.
And, well, all of you idiots have mucked it up.
Yeah. But it's still...
By idiots, yeah.
But the material world, God still thinks it's good.
Right.
I mean, He said it, and He hasn't changed His mind about it, I don't think.
Well, that's another problem that people have. They don't understand that God's not wishy-washy. When He says something, He means it down the entire length of the hallway of time itself. That's why eschatology is isochronal. It's an isochronal event. This is why when we talked earlier about Daniel chapter 7, those beasts actually have those beasts, and isochronally in the end are a part of this seven-headed beast. It plainly states that. And that's why it's go out of its way to tell you that, because time and prophecy is cyclical.
Right. That's what Matthew means to the listener when he says isochronal. He means that prophecy repeats. It goes around in cycles. And I always said that makes perfect sense because, think about it. The earth turns all the way around. That's one day. And then we cycle all the way around. We orbit the sun in 1 year. And then the whole galaxy, or the whole solar system is going through the galaxy in a cycle, in a circle, and comes back around. So everything just comes back around. It goes in a circle and comes back around. And I've always thought that, of course, prophecy is going to work that way because the universe works that way.
Well, that's what God says in Ecclesiastes several different times. I mean, He says it different ways, but He says that He Himself chases after what's been.
Yes.
Well, what does that mean? Well, duh. What does it mean that there's nothing new under the heavens, or under the sun? Well, duh. I mean, He's telling you that time is cyclical.
What has been will be.
Right, that's right. Well, what does that mean? Time repeats, history repeats, duh.
Yeah.
That's what it means. But, I mean, it's all right if you don't believe what He Himself says. I mean,
That's the problem.
There's lots of people today that believe, they're Jedis. Okay, so go believe whatever you want to, but
yeah, it's not going to change anything. I mean,
it's not going to help you. But all right, whatever.
Yes, you can manifest certain things probably in your life by believing them, and I don't believe you can really relate it too much to quantum physics, but To a certain extent, you can do that, but other than that, God is the one that manifests. He's given you the power to manifest a few little things, but other than that, God is the one who manifests things,
Right.
not you.
No, not you.
And if God says it in the Bible, you can't argue with it. What you can do is be like me and not really understand it very well.
Right, and we're all subject to that because we obviously don't have his IQ.
Yeah, that's
So
a good point.
obviously, but
That's a good point.
But people really don't understand why God tells you this. In the Bible, he's no respecter of persons. This is why he tells you prophecy, because, well, you're not big enough to do anything about it anyway.
No.
You cannot change what he himself has intended to do. And the Bible says that quite a few times as well. So this is why the Bible lets you know up front that he really don't care what you think or what you intend to do, because it's not going to stop his intention. He is the agenda. You may think that you have what you call an agenda, but he actually implements the agenda. So you can't do anything about it. I mean, it just reminds me, even of, scriptures I've been talking about this episode, like Jeremiah chapter 13. It's no joke. God's going to shove it down your throat. Let's talk about where he talks about things get so bad. Jeremiah chapter 4, he mentions tohu bohu. I mean, literally, God comes unhinged. And you don't have to like it, but literally, he tells you what he's going to do. And when you take a read of what actually God says he's going to do, it will terrify you. It will literally terrify you, but he's not joking, ladies and gentlemen. He's serious.
It's to the scale, it says in the Bible that men's hearts will fail them for fear from what is coming on the earth.
Well, yeah. Let's take a little bit of a read of Jeremiah chapter 13, because look, he's the Lord God of hosts. He's coming unhooked. Listen and give heed. Do not be haughty, for the Lord has spoken. Give glory to the Lord your God before he brings darkness, and before your feet stumble on the dusky mountains. And while you are hoping for light, he makes it into deep darkness and turns it to gloom. Oh my goodness, this is really interesting in the Hebrew, and I wish I could go to at length about it. But look, what he just said is you're going to be, I talked a little bit about it earlier. He's saying that he's going to segregate the people that love him into a place he's prepared, and everybody else gets cast into the outer darkness. That's what he meant, and that's what he just said, and that's what he's going to do. But if you will not listen to it, my soul will sob and seek it for pride, and my eyes will weep bitterly and flow down with tears, because the flock of the Lord has been taken captive. Now, here he says something very interesting in the Hebrew. He doesn't mention the queen. Well, he kind of mentions the king's dad. But anyway, Jeremiah chapter 13 and verse 18. Say to the king and the queen mother. Now, isn't that interesting? Of course, that's in reference to, obviously, anyway, take a lowly seat for your beautiful crown. This reference back to the helmet of Ephraim, Psalm chapter 60, verse 7. Anyway, I'll let all of you read the rest of it, but it's pretty serious, dire stuff what God says that's going to happen to you.
And this relates to this passage?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so that's some good background reading for the listener. Jeremiah, what to what?
Chapter 13, read the whole thing.
Okay.
You will enjoy the riddle of the loincloth. You'll enjoy it.
So we have one last verse here in our study tonight about the mark of the beast. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is a human number. Actually, it says, for it is the number of a man. And I was doing Iron Maiden there. Okay, here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, And his number is 600 which is 666. If you in the Queen's, in the Elizabethan tongue.
Yes, literally the manuscript here doesn't come out and write 666. This is alphanumerics. It gives the Greek three-letter nomenclature for 666. But here, yes, the word in question here is anthropos, man. It literally says the measure of a man. Arithmos anthropos, the measurement of a man.
What is that?
That word there is where we get arithmetic.
Oh.
Arithmos of a man. It is the arithmetic of a man. So it is a man's dimensions.
So let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast. So that wouldn't be me. I don't get it. Oh, yeah. That would be somebody like you, I think.
Well, we also have a shadow of this before, of course, in concentration camps, don't we? They were numbered, weren't they?
Yes.
And we all know that, well, you can take down our blueprint is in our DNA, correct?
Yes.
And all of your measurements are encoded into that DNA, correct?
Yep.
I mean, the color of your hair, how badly you sweat, how big your ears are, it's there, right?
Absolutely.
It is definitely there. So, one interpretation of this verse is that he is going to take your nomenclature and inscribe it on your head or your hand.
Oh.
That's one interpretation. I'm not saying that is the interpretation. But.
Oh, you mean okay, so for 666 that means that's just like the same as the other the verse before it that he would or actually the 1316, two verses before. You're saying that that's just a kind of another way to say that, the head or the hand?
Yes, it could be another way to say that.
Oh, now, I've never heard that.
Well, I've got another one to throw at you. Okay. This is common. It's been common for eons, and it's the reason why people learned how to write. Because you know this, you do one of two things with your, let's say your Social Security number, Johnny. You do one of two things. You either commit it to memory or you write it down, correct?
Right.
Using the ancient language, guess what you just said? You either put it in your memory or you write it down with your hand. Now, wait a minute. I know I'm not the first one to tell you this.
I've never heard that, no.
You have all these prophecy experts running around that you've been talking to, and none of them have told you that this is what the ancients always said.
No,
you either commit something to memory or you write it down. That's why writing was invented.
Okay, so explain how that would relate to this verse.
Well, it may relate to this verse because in order to do any transactions, you're going to have to be given a secret nomenclature, and this is also given to Christians, of course. You know, in the opening thing of Revelation, that God gives you a secret name,
right?
And it's written on a stone, right?
Right. And nobody knows it.
Well, that's exactly what he's saying here, just using different language, that could be inferring here that you're getting a secret number that you have to know that is your link to the beast in his system.
So the number...
And you have to know it or you have to have it written down. But this is just like your Social Security number. You're not supposed to give anybody that number, correct?
Right.
Because that's how you're identified, correct?
Right.
Right.
So it would have to be in the head or the hand?
It would have to either be committed to memory or you'd have to write it down on a document.
Oh, that's incredible. So it may not even be like an actual tattoo or whatever.
Right.
It may
not be any of those.
It may mean that you either have to memorize it or write it down.
Right. Because in the ancient world, we know when this sort of thing happened. Well, really with the Silk Road, but let's shrink it down to the Roman Empire. Now, you know full well, Johnny, that the Romans would only accept printed Roman currency, right?
Right, yeah.
And all roads lead to Rome for a reason, because to sell all your stuff, you had to be on the Roman roads, right? So you had to be a part of their road system, and you had to use their currency, right?
Right.
You know this.
We do that, too, with oil. You have to use American dollars. If you're in any country in the world and you want to buy oil, you got to use American dollars. It's just like that, right?
And in order to do that on the Roman roads, you had to be able to prove your citizenship, right?
You had to be a Roman citizen?
Well, you could do that one of two ways, Johnny. You could commit your census number to memory, or you'd write it down, you knucklehead.
And some people would even tattoo it on their hand.
That's right. Some people would even tattoo it on.
So they'd either have it. Okay, so to prove you were a Roman citizen, you had to know a secret number, your census
your registry number. Oh,
wow!
What on earth do you think you did whenever you went to do the census? That's why the Romans did it.
Is that probably how St. Paul proved he was a Roman citizen when he appealed to Caesar?
Yeah, most probably.
He had a census number.
He had a census number. I mean, let's talk about Matthew the disciple. He was a tax collector, right?
Right.
So do you actually think that you would go to Matthew's booth and just make your mark and pay your tithe? Or your tax, I mean. Is that really what you thought? That the Romans couldn't prove that Johnny McMahon was paying his tithe?
Oh, you would have to do it with your secret number.
Duh.
And they would record that.
Where do you think the idea of Social Security number comes from? That's the whole reason why the Social Security number was made up. Just so you could pay taxes.
That is interesting. It's like all based on Rome. Well, a lot of our laws are based on Roman law as well. It's not just that. I mean, so we kind of, the whole world is still like the Roman Empire. And like all of our science, especially biology, everything's, it's in Roman. It's all, when you want to know exactly what this plant is, well, it's in Roman.
Huh.
People say, oh, no, it's in Latin. Yeah, that's Roman. That's what they spoke, Latin.
That's Roman, duh. And you'll just tick them off when you say that. I mean, they'll go psychotic on you. But
It's true, though. You don't think about that. But that's pretty incredible. Wow. I mean, this still is Rome.
Yeah, right. It is. And all roads really do still lead to Rome. I mean, it really does. But
so then when they talk about the revived Roman Empire, somebody like Matthew would say revived. It never went away.
It never went away. It's just been fulfilled. Now it encompasses the whole globe.
Wow.
So I just brought up a couple of things that you've never heard of before, right?
No, I've never heard of those things.
And you actually was like, wow, Matthew's actually, is that blasphemy to say that the false prophet outdoes Jesus? Because Jesus never did make the rocks cry out. I mean,
no.
He threatened to do it, but he didn't do it. But this bad boy does it.
No, I didn't say that. I was saying that what if the listener was thinking that?
Well, it's irrelevant what the listener's thinking.
Well, it's relevant because they're listening. That's why we're here. I didn't want anybody to accuse you of anything, which is why I said that. I thought, well, we're going to need Matthew to explain that because I don't want any of the listeners to think, oh, Matthew just spoke blasphemy or whatever. And because you didn't, obviously, I know you didn't. I was just thinking when you say that, when you say, well, look, he just outdoes God or outdoes Jesus right there. Right, when you say that, the listener might think, wow, how could you say something like that? Well, and the thing is that it says it, so you're going to have to accept it. You don't have to like it, but that's what it
Right.
says.
Right. And the things I've been able to bring up tonight that completely rocked your house. And you've been studying Bible prophecy how long, John?
Oh, since 1985.
Okay, so the difference between you and I is I think biblically.
Right.
So really everything triggers memories in me. They're all remembrancers to me.
Yeah.
And that's how I was able to bring this up, to point this out, that, well, he's bringing to life an inanimate object, and Christ threatened to do that.
But never
he didn't.
did.
So he's fulfilling Christ's threat. That's what he's actually doing. That's actually, I only come up with that because I'm thinking biblically.
Absolutely. He literally outdid Christ. Christ never did it. Now, Christ could have done it. He could have done a lot more than that.
Yes, he could have. And now maybe we understand why he didn't.
Right. Because, okay, now I don't know why. Why?
Well, think of it this way. When this false prophet Assyrian does it, that claims to be of the tribe of Ephraim, it's going to get the Jews' attention because every single look. If you study the ancient documents that describe what happened when Alexander the Great come up to Jerusalem, you're going to find uncanny similarities with what's going on here, because literally speaking, the Assyrian is going to come to Jerusalem, and he really is going to set up this image, and he really is going to breathe life into it. And everybody knows that Jesus, when he come into the triumphal entry, he threatened. He said, "Now look, if they stop singing, the rocks will cry out. They'll know he's saying that this Assyrian is his triumphal entry into Jerusalem. They'll know what he's talking about. They'll know what he's coming there to do."
Oh. And it's, you know what? That flew right over my head. I did not comprehend what you said. You're saying that the false prophet, the second beast,
Right.
he fulfills what Jesus threatened to do, and that's prophesied because it's prophesied that the Assyrian would... What? You lost me. I'm sorry.
The triumphal entry into Jerusalem.
The Assyrian will make a triumphal entry into Jerusalem.
Right. And where Jesus said, he warned them. Remember, this is during the triumphal entry, because the Pharisees yelled at him, "Hey, stop them from crying out. Blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord. You tell them to shut up." And Jesus answered the Pharisees, "No, don't tell them to shut up. If they do, the stones will cry out." This is when the Assyrian enters into Jerusalem. He's going to enter into Jerusalem and set up this image in Jerusalem.
So Jesus was giving a prophecy of the false prophet. Oh,
Yes.
Oh, that's insane. That's wow.
So here's another insane thing that you've never... Look, are you sure that... Who did you mention before? Who were these two jokers?
Oh, well, Tim LaHaye and Jerry B. Jenkins.
There you go.
Left behind. Left behind.
I guess you did leave them behind. But anyway, that's beside the point.
I guess we
So
have.
you sure you didn't hear this from them?
What? The Jesus making a prophecy of the of the false prophet? They never said that.
Never said that.
They're not that advanced, Matthew. They're not.
Crazy. No. And they never mention the simple fact that, well, this guy gives life to an inanimate object, basically doing what Christ threatened to do. You didn't hear that from them? I mean, we've talked about all kinds of stuff you say you never heard of before.
I don't know. You know what though? The real actual understanding of this would make a really great movie, better than theirs. I mean, it would.
Yeah, well, I did say that several times, that the entertainment industry has fallen short.
Yeah, they could have really.
I did say that.
If they would have actually gotten biblical, it would be a hell of a movie.
Right, it'd actually be a good movie if they got biblical. Yeah, I agree with you.
Wow. It's too bad they don't. It's too bad they don't take the time just to read it and talk about it and try to get a grip on it. But what the whole reason why I dragged you in here, mark of the beast. Are we there yet? Are we close? Is the vaccine the mark of the beast? Okay, so if you're asking those questions, let me ask you. Okay, if you think if you're asking those questions, is the vaccine the mark of the beast? Are we very close to the mark of the beast? Is it about to happen? Okay, let me ask you some questions. Okay. Has the supernatural angel, the beast, come out of the abyss and shown up on Earth?
That has not happened yet.
Okay. Has he caused the whole world to worship him?
No.
Okay.
Not that I'm aware of. At least not me. I mean, I do live in my own little world here, but I'm pretty sure I missed that event. At least myself, I missed it.
I have too. I mean, I've missed that one. Has the second beast come out, and who is a man, the false prophet, and caused everybody to worship this beast? And has he put up an image, a statue of this first beast, and caused everybody to worship that?
Well, you have to understand that if the first one hasn't come, it's impossible for the second one to come, because the first one has to come first, and everybody's familiar with him before the second one comes and sets up the image in these.
Right, but if the second one has come and he's set up the image, the statue of the beast, has he given life unto it and made it speak? Right? Has he brought down fire from heaven and done great miracles in front of the whole earth? No. Okay, well, we're not very close to the mark of the beast yet. I mean, would you agree with that statement, Matthew?
I would definitively agree with that statement, yes.
It's a ways off, right? I mean,
it's a ways off. Right.
Some things have to happen first, some really, really, really big things that you will not miss. So if you're wondering if the vaccine of the mark of the beast, are we close to the mark of the beast, read Revelation chapter 13. Just read the whole thing. It's only 18 verses, people, 18 short verses, right? See if all that stuff has happened first. Then you'll know if we're getting close.
Yeah, then you'll know if we're getting close. Now, stepping a little bit further, I'm probably going to rock people's houses because, I'm going to talk about, Well, if I was all of you, if we want all the technical data, look up this article, Chimeras for the Scapegoat. It's on my webpage, according to the scripture.wordpress.com. Chimeras for the Scapegoat. This event really happened. What they did was a guy needed a bone marrow transplant. So they took a needle and injected it into his bone marrow, and guess what? His semen, his seed, his sperm, had the DNA of the donor, which was from Germany, if I remember right.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Literally speaking, we've proven. I mean, this is no joke. We've proven this. If you give somebody a bone marrow transplant, you take on the donor's DNA. So we're not too sure what would happen if you did that with an angel and injected it into somebody's bone marrow. We have no idea what would happen.
Or an animal? Have they tried that?
Tried what?
Have they tried injecting a goat marrow into a human marrow?
I don't know if they've tried that or not. I'm just telling you, specific instance, I wrote an article about it on my webpage, and you can get it if you want to.
So it's already happened. I mean, it's proven that they've changed somebody's seed.
Yes, they literally changed his seed.
I read about that. I read that article. It came out, it was about 5, 6, 7 years ago. And, right?
The original research, the one that I published, was December 12th, 2019.
Oh, but I mean, the event happened a while ago, didn't it?
Yeah, yes, it happened a while ago. I can't remember when exactly the date happened, but
I remember reading about that. Yeah,
but it's off the hook. So literally speaking,
so you might be able to alter somebody's DNA if you inject something into their bone marrow.
Yes, give them a bone marrow transplant, and it's already proven you're going to alter their seed.
Wow, so it may not be as fancy as, I mean, because if you if you're into science fiction and futurism and stuff like that, I mean, what the futurists say is probably going to be, in order to literally change somebody's DNA, you would have to have a fleet of different viruses that would do specific things to alter them. They would need a viral load, right. But that's just speculation. You probably wanted to talk more about what you're talking about.
No, that's good enough for me. I'm just throwing some things out there. I didn't say anything definitive about this Mark of the Beast. I just gave everybody, some serious food for thought to get their minds thinking in biblical directions.
Okay, yes. So I think we've basically proven that the Mark of the Beast is not yet. It's not. It's a ways off. A lot of things have to happen first. Read Revelation 13, 18 verses. Everybody, read that. If you want to know if we're close to the Mark of the Beast, read that chapter, and you'll see that we just aren't that close. And another thing is that when the Mark of the Beast, whatever it is, appears on the scene, when it's actually time for that to happen, you will not be here, one, probably, and two, you would know what it is. Nobody'd be sneaking it on you. You would full face, full knowledge, know exactly what you were getting, right?
Exactly. What we just read.
Yeah.
You will fully believe in your heart through these false signs that the Assyrian false prophet is the devil's Messiah. You'll believe that before this Mark of the Beast ever comes up. You will believe it through the lying signs and wonders.
Yeah, so, and so, I just wanted people, there's a lot of people worried. They're worried about the vaccine being the mark. I have close friends that are actually, speculating, I'm not going to get the vaccine because it might be the mark. No, it's not the mark. Now, what about the vaccine? I want you to get back to your family here and let you go, but just quickly, what do you think about, what do you think about the coronavirus and the vaccines that they're developing? What's your thoughts on it? I mean, me personally, I'll get that vaccine. I think, man, an RNA-based vaccine, I thought we would get to Mars first, before that ever happened. That's a cure for the common cold.
Agreed.
What do you think about all of this? What would be
my research leads me down this path, and remember, I have several doctors that are very good, close friends of mine. The problem is that they know that your vaccine is only going to last for so long, most notably, very slim chance that the vaccine that you get will last past a season, i.e. 3 months, because it changes as it goes.
It's like I get a flu shot every year.
And you'll get the same exact thing. COVID-19, you will have to get the updated shot every year. You're going to play the same exact game. That is inevitable. Any physician can tell you that.
So what do you think about the vaccines they're developing? What do you think about them? Do you think that it's a big deal not to take it, or I don't want to ask you if you're going to take it. I don't want anybody to know either way. But what's your opinion about that? Would it be something people don't really need to worry about? It would be like a flu shot, or is it something else that they should?
I would say, this is my opinion, that you need to educate yourself. And that it is your choice. God has given you dominion over you, not me or Johnny. So that's the first thing you need to do. Is there anything wrong with taking a vaccine? Well, there's many vaccines. When I went into the military, I had multiple vaccines I had no choice about. Here I am. So yeah. I understand that some people get emotional about it. Well, the best way to overcome your emotions about it is to educate yourself. So look into it. Look into it and study it for yourself, and you need to decide. And I don't need to hinder your decision. You have the right to be free. Let me make sure you understand what I just said. As a Christian, I firmly believe in your freedom to do what you wish to do. Now, I'm here to tell you that if you choose to do illegal things, you will probably go to jail if you get caught. But you do have the freedom to choose to do whatever you want to do. And you need to do that. You need to choose. You do not need somebody telling you that you have to do it. That's not a choice.
Right.
So whether you take the shot or not, I've already willingly admitted to you, ladies and gentlemen, I took many forced vaccinations when I was in the military. And they obviously didn't kill me. They obviously didn't hurt me, correct? Now, Are there clear historical cases of bad batches of particular vaccines that did make people sick and hurt people? Yes. Because guess what? Well, mistakes do happen because we're not God. Jesus is. So he's the one that don't make mistakes. So here on planet Earth, we make mistakes. So yes, it's quite possible that you could get a bad batch and it hurts you. But like I said, you need to be able to make the choice yourself. I am not for anyone making that choice for you. And the best way to alleviate your worries is to research the topic.
Is there any chance this vaccine will be the mark of the beast?
No, emphatically it is not, because we do not have the beast from the sea yet. If we don't have the beast from the sea, we can't have the beast from the earth. If we don't have the beast from the earth, he can't perform signs that will convince us that he is what he says he is. So it's absolutely physical, chronologically, on this temporal timeline, for this vaccination to be the mark of the beast. It's physically impossible. That's not what the Bible says.
And that's what I maintain. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Go.
The premise with this is God goes way out of his way in the book of Ecclesiastes to tell you that a thing is only beautiful in its time. And God's told you when is a beautiful time for this mark of the beast. And it is not now. It's after the series of events. Look, Johnny, the listener needs to realize that God wrote this so you wouldn't be confused as to the timing to the mark of the beast. It comes at the end of chapter 13, not the beginning, Johnny. That's why he wrote it, to make sure you would know when it was coming.
Yes, and God does not want you to be ignorant of these things.
Right.
But if you don't read Revelation chapter 13, you will remain in ignorance, wondering, is this the mark? Yes. Is this the mark? Well, why don't you try reading the Bible?
You'll just yourself to death.
Yeah.
There's no reason for that. That's why he wrote Revelation chapter 13, so you wouldn't do that.
Yes. He doesn't want you to be ignorant. That's why.
No.
That's why.
He didn't write it to confuse you, I swear. I swear he did not write it to confuse you. He really didn't.
Right, and that's why it says in the beginning of Revelation, what?
Oh, Lord,
blessed
have mercy.
is who?
So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, no, this is not the mark of the beast. It's not the season for it.
Right.
It's not the season for it. It's not a beautiful time. Please read the book of Ecclesiastes.
Everything is in its time.
In its time, and it's after a whole lot of things happened, which hasn't happened yet. So it can't be the mark of the beast. It can't be.
What this is in my opinion, this whole thing is a power play by the evil bastards that God is talking about, who he's going to deal with in the book of Revelation.
Yep.
That's what it is.
That's what it is. Yep, that's what it is.
They're seeing how much they can control you and how much money they can suck out of you.
Well, it amazes me that people don't realize why certain things are mentioned in the book of Revelation. You will take note that really, if your name has not been written in the Lamb's book of life, you get a number. He assigns you a number. But a lot of people hides that in the closet. Well, what do you mean? Well, if the Bible plainly states that if your name is not written in the book of life, you're going to get the mark of the beast, right? That's what it says, right?
Yeah. Now the average.
So why don't everybody just believe that?
Yeah, that would be easy, wouldn't it?
I don't know. Maybe it's just way too easy. I guess.
If you take the mark of the beast, guess what? Your name isn't in the book anyway.
Right.
So, I mean, you're an evil bastard if you're taking the mark of the beast. That's why God, he, as a special, destruction for the people that, the evil bastards that worship the mark of the beast, and take the mark, and they go into a place that's not even designed for people. It was never even intended for people. It was intended for the devil and his angels.
Well, look, I demand that you read Revelation chapter 13, verse 8 again. Just read it one more time for us.
Okay, let me scroll back up there. Okay. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the world.
Okay, so everybody not in that book, that's the people that get the mark of the beast.
Right.
You're sure?
Yeah, that's because.
Okay.
You know what?
That being the case,
I'm real sure because that's what it says right there, and it's not very confusing. It looks pretty easy to understand.
It's pretty to the point.
Yeah.
Pretty to the point. Yeah.
And one more time, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life.
And that happens before you're assigned the mark.
Right. So that has to happen.
You have to believe in the beast before you're given a number.
Yes.
Right? That's what he just said. Was God confused? Just let me... I mean, this was pretty elementary language. So God was trying to confuse you. He worded it crazy or something, because I thought it sounded pretty plain to me.
Yes, it seems very simple to me.
All right, well, very good.
There are things that in the Bible passages where you can debate and maybe you're not really quite sure what it means, and a lot of people...
But not this one.
Not this one.
Not this one. He's dead to rights, clear. Right. He's pretty clear.
Right, and there's another passage that's kind of simple to understand, and that is... believe in the Lord Jesus Christ, and that God has raised him from the dead, and you shall be saved. That's pretty easy. If I were
that's just as easy as the verse we just read. Actually,
yeah.
It was straightforward. It was really straightforward. It was really to the point. So
anyway.
So can I give you one more bonus?
Oh, absolutely. I'm.
Are you sure? Because I'm afraid I'm going to blow the top of your head right off if I share anything more with you.
My head can't hold any more. No, it can.
You sure?
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's go back up to verse 15, and when we really do take a look at it, it says some very strange things. It definitely says beast, theron in the Greek. That's G2342, right?
Let me stop you there. What about the people that say theron could be a virus? Because it's like an animal thing. A little beast. That's not possible, really, is it? Because theron, the word theron, that's like a big animal, like a cougar or a bear, or...
Yes, that's a living beast, a living animal. No, that's not a virus. But
anyway.
You realize that's in the neutral sense, so it's not feminine or masculine. You know what I mean?
Theron, the beast,
you understand what I'm...
in Greek?
Yeah, beast.
Oh.
Do you know what the image is?
No.
Uh-oh.
A statue.
Ekon. That's Ekon, but you got a real serious problem here, and we're going to end with this.
Wait.
Now,
the Greek word is what?
It is Ekon. And
Ekon.
That is in the singular feminine sense.
Why would it be singular feminine? I mean, if we're talking about a statue.
Well, like I already said, the beast, this is saying the image of the beast. Image is in the feminine form And beast is in the neutral form. It's not feminine or neutral.
And why is that?
The image, look, I'm not going to elaborate on it. I'm just giving you another piece of information that I guess Mr. LaHaye and Mr. Jenkins failed to mention to you, because that's important. Do you realize, once again, God was trying to make sure you didn't confuse. So literally speaking, why would this say that? And why don't you read verse 15 again, Johnny? Let's just read that.
Well, I didn't want. I took you off of where you were going. I didn't want to do that. Well, we'll get back to it. Okay. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
So why would the word there in Greek for image be feminine?
Because that's how Greek is when it talks about something like a statue. That was a good guess.
Whatever you say, buddy. Does that make you feel better?
No, I just took a guess at it. I don't know.
All right, well, we're ending right there. So now I shared with you, do you realize how many times I got you to say, about Revelation chapter 13, and I was under the impression that Mr. LaHaye and Mr. Jenkins had already taught you everything there was to know about this particular chapter.
Yeah, no.
Cool.
I think they skipped over some stuff.
Oh, you do? So you must have got their Cliff Notes version.
Yeah.
All right, well, I hope everybody enjoyed what they learned tonight, and I wasn't definitive like the thing I just shared. I didn't say why the Greek says that. I just told you that because, well, that's important information for everybody to know.
So you want them to look it up and try to research and figure out what that is, why that is.
Yes, I do.
So the beast is neutral, but the image of the beast, the statue, is feminine.
Is feminine. And that's important because God told you that for a reason. He wasn't trying to confuse you. He really wanted you to know the information.
I imagine it has something to do with the whore of Babylon. Am I off? I took a stab at it.
Well, we read about her earlier. Remember that verse I was reading, and it said, notified the king and the queen mother. That's Jeremiah. Yeah.
Queen mother.
So it's important. I'm telling you, it's important. But anyway.
We're going to have to think about that for a long time. We're going to have... Matthew, it's been so great to have you here. I'm going to let you get back to your family. And I'm just so grateful because there was so much of this going on that I just had to get on here. And I was going to do it myself and just explain, look, there's a lot of things that have to happen first before the mark of the beast is even close. And I happened to run into you tonight, and you're like, let's go. And I'm so grateful to have you here. And this has really been a good session. Thank you very much.
You are most welcome, and I had a blast like always, man. I had a blast.
We got to do this again. So, where's my buttons? Oh, where's my buttons? Oh, I want to do that again. Oh, yeah! Oh, yeah! Oh, yeah! Oh, yeah! All right, I want to thank Matthew Miller. I want to thank Matthew Miller for hanging out with me and explaining all of this stuff about the Mark of the Beast to our listeners. I want to thank the listeners for listening. And anybody wants to get a hold of me, ironshowstudio@gmail.com. That's where you get me. ironshowstudio@gmail.com. I want to thank Bruce Collins. The Iron Show is on the Fringe Radio Network at the behest of Bruce Collins. I want to thank Dr. Future and Peter Goodgame for early inspiration. There would be no Iron Show without those guys. I want to thank everybody on the Fringe Radio Network. I want to thank my boy Michael Basham. I want to thank Aaron Miller, Matthew's son Aaron Miller, who has really also been opening my eyes lately. Just a wellspring of inspiration and information. Aaron Miller, he's a star. I want everybody to go to Christian Conspiracy Theory on the Fringe Radio Network. Christian Conspiracy Theory, that's Christian Conspiracy Theory. Awesome show. I never miss an episode. That is Matthew Miller and his son Aaron teaching us all kinds of radical cool stuff. All right. Until next time, remember, Johnny loves you. All right, that was the end of it.
Hey, sweetie, what do you think of our new car from Carvana?
Think it can handle our busy family?
Well, we have 7 days to see. First, we can take the scenic route to the beach and stargaze through the moonroof. We'll see if your drums fit in the trunk. Then we can pick up Mommy's friends and check out that legroom. And we should really visit Grandma. She's getting up there.
That's like a whole lifetime in 7 days.
And like one busy family.
With our 7-day money-back guarantee, you can confidently shop for cars 100% online. Visit Carvana.com for all terms and conditions. We'll drive you happy at Carvana.